Yo, what's up, it's VT, and let's react to how a VTuber got fired for a dad joke.
No
Why?
matter what you do on the internet stays on the internet and can be found by someone else at a later date. And that, of course, includes any potential future employers. In fact, there are numerous studies in multiple countries that go through this. How people have genuinely lost
For a dad joke though, like, it has to be insane joke, like...
opportunities due to what they said or did on social media. So what would you do if a dream job of yours got taken away from you due to something that you said on the internet?
Oh yeah, because a lot of people on TikTok at least say, like, if they do something really cringe, it's gonna be like people saying, bye college, or goodbye college, or like, no job.
Almost 5 years ago. Well, that's exactly
goodbye job, goodbye, like,
what happened to one of the most recognizable English-speaking VTubers on the planet, Uro Crony from Hololive. You see, other than being a VTuber, she also happens to be a talented voice actor. This is why for her, getting to voice in the game Eternal Return, a MOBA game that's pretty popular in South Korea, was an opportunity that she very much looked forward to, especially seeing that she was going to represent a character that was very hyped by the community. So imagine her shock, as she had already voiced—
wait, what game is that? Is it MOBA?
—this character to completion. As we were nearing the release date for this character, she would find out through a random public post from the Japanese Twitter page of the game that she was getting fired effective immediately.
What?
The reason? A terrible joke that she had made around 5 years ago back in 2021. A one-liner. And when I say terrible joke, I don't mean that it was offensive or anything. No, terrible as in...
what?
It was a dad joke. It was the most harmless, lamest thing you've ever heard in your life.
Over bad pun. She made over a bad pun. Bad pun. What?
To say that this decision had caused controversy is an understatement, because it caused an earthquake. So much so that it might have single-handedly destroyed any chance this game has of reaching a non-South Korean audience. So what the hell happened, and how did we get here? Well, let's talk about it. Alright, so the studio at the center of this controversy is none other than Nimble Neuron. It was established shortly before the pandemic as a result of a merger from two different studios. After that merger, they would decide to work on their main project, Eternal Return: Black Survival. And on October 14th, 2020, it would come out to work
AI art?
on their main project, Eternal Return: Black Survival. And on October 14th, 2020, it would come out on Steam Early Access. Now, it's easy to mistake Eternal Return as some indie game that wouldn't make much of an impact in the gaming industry, but not everyone shared that opinion. Like, for example, Kakao Games, one of the biggest gaming conglomerates in South Korea, who would partner up with Nimble Neuron to publish the game. This partnership would allow them to take the marketing of the game to the next level. That's because, okay, listen, the K-pop group aespa would drop a music video for the song Next Level in collaboration
for the game
with Eternal Return. You simply don't see this every day, even in South Korea, the land of K-pop. aespa in particular wasn't some low-tier K-pop group that no one had heard of. It must have cost a fortune to hire them to do this. Kakao Games was putting a lot of hope in Eternal Return, and I mean, why is that? What made this game so special? Well, it's combined two of the most popular gaming genres in South Korea together.
It is a MOBA.
First one being MOBAs, like League of Legends or Dota 2. The other genre that was combined with MOBAs was Battle Royales. You might think it's a dead genre, especially with their diminished popularity in the West, but man, are they still popular in Asia. In fact, PUBG makes most of its revenue right now from China, and they're also pretty damn popular in South Korea. So with these two genres combined, Kakao Games was hoping to make bank here. But how did the game work? Well, it would start with you landing on the map with your team, and you would try to find the best gear in different loot boxes. You would level up in a multitude of different ways, like attacking NPCs, and eventually you would bring the fight to other players. The early access version of the game would come out with quite a bit of different characters. But overall, back in 2020, this was somewhat of a brand new concept, and it definitely had a very steep learning curve. It would prove to be popular, especially in South Korea, and 3 years later, it would release, going from being called Eternal Return: Black Survival to just Eternal Return. A year later, the partnership between Nimble Neuron and Kakao Games would dissolve, which meant that Nimble Neuron would become the sole publisher of the game. Now, there could be a variety of reasons for that, but one of them is probably the fact that this game has had a hard time growing.
Wait, is it like still alive, or?
By June 2023, the game had almost died, with 5,000 concurrent players, down from 50,000 during its early access release, but it did get somewhat of a boost after finally releasing on Steam, like the full release. I think Kakao Games was expecting it to be way more successful, and today, it peaks at around 20,000 players every day. But here's the problem. When South Koreans go to sleep, the player count goes to nothing, meaning that even in 2026, this game's demographic is only located in one region of the world. It simply wasn't successful enough in spreading to other regions, most notably the West. Now, as of today, this game has way more characters than it used to back in early access. They also happen to be the main monetization mechanic that this game possesses, whether it's you buying a character or buying them skins. This means that a lot of effort is put into every single one of these characters, whether it be their design, their kit, right, their abilities, and their voice, their personality. If they can nail all these factors together in a character, it means they'll make the most amount of money. So back in January of 2026, when we got a reveal of 2 different characters coming out soon,
so it's free to play based on cosmetics. Interesting.
The community was very excited over their designs. But out of those 2, the character Baehyung really...
So what the fuck happened? How did it come to that place, to it being completely fucked up just by hiring someone and firing them for a dad joke? What?
She stood out. She looked different than many of the other already existing characters, and she seemed to have a vibrant and interesting personality. At the same time, for Nimble Neuron, this presented itself as a very important opportunity. This is because they would hire Dotavu as its English voice actress. This is someone with a large
Oh, they started hiring voice actors?
fan base who just so happens to be quite experienced in voice acting, having started doing it back in 2014 and possessing an impressive, diverse resume. The person behind Dotavu also just so happens to be the same person behind Urocrony, one of the most recognizable English VTubers under the corporation Hololive. Now, yes, she isn't just talented enough to bring out the personality of this character, but she also just so happens to have a very large and loyal audience. More importantly, a large and English-speaking loyal audience, one that is located in the West, the demographic that Nimble Neuron is specifically targeting for its growth. This meant that as soon as the character released, many of her audience would have downloaded the game just to check it out for her. It was genius. And yet, that entire plan was squandered when Eternal Return would randomly, only on its Japanese account on Twitter, announce to the world that Urocrony was being fired, even though the character was close to release. The reasoning, a dad joke from 5 years ago.
Why?
Eternal Return has multiple different Twitter
Why? What?
accounts for multiple regions. They have one in English, they have one in South Korean, they have one in Japanese, etc., etc. On May 7th, 2026,
It has to be like a power tripping, like the fuck?
they would
Or like it's like an excuse to lay off her. Like it has to be something like
tweet
that.
out a notice outlining the fact that Baehyung's voice actress was going to be replaced and giving us their logic. It would be viewed almost 4 million times, and as you can see from the
Insane.
comment to like ratio and the fact that the post got ratioed multiple times, yeah, people weren't very happy about that. They would also post the same statement on their website. I'll read that one because the one on Twitter was translated from Japanese to English and it's not really a perfect translation. Here's what they have to say. Hello Lumia Island survivors. Thank you for your support for our newest character, Baehyung. Unfortunately, we will be recasting her English voice actor, which means Baehyung will temporarily not have an English voice in game. We will announce more details about the recasting and update schedule separately. So this character that people were excited about that was meant to get a new audience in the West is coming out with no English voice. This is how drastic this is. This usually only happens if the voice actor in question, I don't know, like causes a crime, is accused of like messaging minors or something. Like this is drastic. They're not even releasing this character with her voice and then replacing it later. No, they're releasing her mute. Anyway, they would continue. At the moment, our English voice casting is supported by external partners. The process operates as an audition, where the development team receives voice samples for a blind test from applicants to select the final voice. However, without an extensive database of overseas voice actors, our pre-casting screening process is admittedly weaker than our domestic one. In coordination with our local casting partners, we would like to provide additional context to ensure a clearer understanding of the casting process. While our casting process for the English-speaking market involves only legal names and includes background checks, the information available through our contractual relationships made the current situation difficult to predict. As reinforcing this verification process exceeds the scope of our local partners' responsibilities, we will be looking for effective ways to independently implement a secondary verification system in the future. While it is difficult to implement
Why?
structural changes quickly within the current system, we are actively looking for effective ways to improve and
For what?
reinforce our verification process. So this is them essentially saying, hey, our external partners fucked up. They could have done a better job. We're going to step in to ensure there's another layer of verification for whoever we cast for English voice acting, making it seem like they had hired someone like Dr. Disrespect by mistake. This made it sound like whatever the voice actress behind Baehyung did was drastic. It was unforgivable to the point where the character had to release muted. This spread quickly, and even the English-speaking community of Eternal Return was dumbfounded. To them, even though they didn't watch VTubers, this was still a big deal because this game, as I told you already, was lacking English-speaking players and Western players. Having a voice actress with such a large following was a major step for this game to finally spread to non-South Koreans. So what could have the voice actress possibly done here to warrant getting fired publicly to the point where we can't even hear her voice? Well, the reason for this firing was because of a joke she had made almost 5 years ago while she was playing the early access version of this game during a sponsored stream. The stream itself
What the fuck?
was done on Urocrony's channel, okay? Not on Dotavu's channel. This is like you working at, I don't know, Microsoft and having a side business on Etsy and someone telling you they can't work with you on your Etsy because you work at Microsoft. It doesn't make any sense. In any case, the stream was from November 8th, 2021, and as I said, this whole stream was sponsored by Eternal Return. Here's the joke that lost her this job and made Eternal Return fumble the opportunity of a lifetime. Watch.
What?
This is such a bore.
I'm gonna go.
A boring. Ha 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 ha.
What? Huh?
That's it.
You called a boring. Did they? What the fuck?
That's
How the fuck did they find this out, and why did they? No, this has to be like a power trip. What? This makes no sense.
that is it. This
Either this or there had to be like miscommunication. What?
is the joke that made them make this statement, making it seem like she had murdered someone while drunk driving. She saw a boar and she called it boring. That's it. Like, come on, dude. This is you really have nothing else to do in your life. Anyway, around the time of her firing, Dota
No, that is insane,
who
bro.
would make this statement on Twitter, saying, coming from someone whose English is also not their first language, if English is not a language you're fluent in, I hope you are able to first analyze and understand what wordplay and a genuinely harmful comment
Coming from someone
is before taking action. This has always been a constant problem I've had with some individuals where they would process my words through a rough translator and twist my words. It was hurtful to see this, but I didn't think it could be harmful, but I see how mistranslations towards myself could make a negative impact. I hope those who would misconstrue words through a mistranslation could reflect on how their seemingly innocent action can impact others and be more careful with their actions. As for individuals who misconstrue with ill intent in mind, I sincerely
So it was mistranslationed. Oh, what the fuck?
hope you can grow as a person. I won't lie.
So yeah, it is power tripped.
Taking opportunity over this is quite hurtful, but there are more projects on the horizon to look forward to that I constantly audition for with my own efforts as a voice actor and not do anything else. Thank you to those who I was able to work with and to the people who was excited for me. I'll continue to do better. Dotavu had gotten this role not because she just so happens to be Urochrony her whole life, right? Even Eternal Return in their document statement admitted this. Their external partners get voice samples for a blind test. That is it. Then they move forward with them or reject them. Dotavu doesn't just go around saying, hey, I worked a whole life. No, she wants to actually earn it herself, right? And when it came to Beyoung, she did. However, seeing that her double identity isn't really kept secret, some South Korean fans of the game would look into her sponsored streams from almost 5 years ago and see that she had made this joke. Now, of course, if you're an English speaker, you'd know that this is just a terrible dad joke pun. This is not offensive. This is not meant to be offensive in any way. But these fans just translated this and thought she was calling the game boring. And by calling the game boring,
Wait, the game? The game? What?
she had committed a cardinal sin. How dare she voice in my game if she thinks it's boring? They went ahead and complained to the
The game?
developer, and the developer,
Really?
instead of telling them "F off, get a life," chose to actually side with them, fearing that they could lose their most important demographic. Around the same time the Dotavu tweet was made talking about this, Urochrony's account would tweet something that wasn't as serious, saying, breaking news, attire is tiring and a bore is boring. If you found this pun to be controversial, then hospital. Someone replied with, gasp, you can't just say that, to which she said, sorry for puns. So it seemed like at least on her Urochrony account she was taking this jokingly, lightly, because at the end of the day it is a very ridiculous situation. On the initial post made by Eternal Return on their Japanese account, people were absolutely outraged. If you want to go through the
Like, even then, bro, usually people that are sponsored, they... And they play a game, like, for example, was it Iron Mouse? Yeah, even Iron Mouse, bro. If they're sponsored, they say that they can still say things about the game, even if it, like, it's negative, but, like, that's by being honest, you know, like, honest. So, what the fuck? Calling a game boring?
individually,
How is that like a... How is that a crime? What?
you can pause the video. I mean, look at all this. They are cooking them. Many talking about how they didn't even know this game
yeah,
existed
that is
until
insane.
Dotavu talked about it. This was the fumble of a century. But not everyone thought this way, of course. There were two sides to the story. The first one, of course, being outraged over how stupid this is, but the other side being the South Koreans who wanted her out of the game. Those people would be outraged that she would tweet, breaking news, attire is tiring and a bore is boring. Saying things like, no sense of professionalism whatsoever. And
No sense of professionalism. Bro, it doesn't matter, bro. It's an indie game. What?
instead of reflecting on
Who cares?
their actions, they get pissed
If you want to get... Okay, bro, this is a rage rate, bro. This is a rage rate, 100%. Like, what?
off and fill up on nothing but pissing contests.
Like, nobody gives a fuck that much, bro. Like,
It's truly pathetic to watch.
it's pathetic to watch, bro. How dare she call the game boring? How dare she, bro? She gave up such an opportunity. She is not even professional about her... About being hired to be a voice actor. Like, what?
They would allege that what she was doing is trash talking and even say things like, if you just kept your mouth shut, you'd probably think, oh, even so, I was just cracking my usual dumb jokes out of habit and got unfairly cornered for a slip up. But instead of an apology or even the slightest remorse, what the
What apology? Apology for saying a dad joke? What?
hell is this? Dragging this account into it and telling me to go to the hospital? They really were making it seem like she had murdered someone, right? Even objectively speaking, this is outrage that doesn't really match what was actually
True.
happening. The South Korean player here, though, was a bit more reasonable with their explanation, saying this: I hope you can all understand the sentiments of Koreans. Although there were many people who were too angry, Koreans are very sensitive about paid activities, such as advertising. They don't prefer jokes that can be taken in a negative way. In this case, boring and boring. So this was the other side of the story, right? They felt like she didn't really take it seriously, like she was being unprofessional. But what didn't help is that many people who held this opinion expressed it in a very aggressive manner, making the average person feel like this was being blown out of proportion to ridiculous levels. Like, look at this guy saying, didn't prepare at all for the ad broadcast. Went so far as to put even the colleagues she was working with in a tough spot with an over-the-top wordplay stunt. 5 years later, applied to that game with a voice actor account. Got dropped due to controversy over the above actions. Then she wrote a post picking a fight with the existing game fans. Don't compress this into something boring. So this to them was inexcusable. What she had done was insanely bad. It's one of the worst things you can do as a content creator. And almost every account talking about this would be rooting for the same thing. What they really wanted from her for this to be okay was an apology. They wanted her to boot up the stream and say, guys, I am so sorry for what I did and how I behaved during the stream 5 years ago. But other than this,
Really? Why, bro? What happened happened. Why do you have to apologize about something that happened 5 years ago?
really
Like, do you live in the past, brother? What?
harmless joke. What else
If you live in the past, then I don't know, bro. Crow the fuck up, nigga. Oh,
could she have possibly done that made them think that she was unprofessional? Well, the user Fishy Fishy Dodo
my bad.
actually wrote a Google Doc summarizing this entire drama. In this, he would offer us some bonus info about how other streamers had actually played this game back during early access in 2020 and how they all struggled getting to know its mechanics because this is a very high barrier to entry game. So this unprofessionalism that some of these South Koreans were complaining about was the fact that Urochrony didn't do enough research, didn't get acclimated enough with the game before her sponsored stream, even though she won a game. And in this document, we'd actually see an example of XQC playing it back in October 2020, and he also struggled to understand the mechanics of this game. He had no idea what the hell was going on, and his chat was constantly constantly making fun of the game and how bad it was, even though this as well was a sponsored stream, making the argument that maybe,
Really?
just maybe, these angry fans were expecting a bit too much from content creators during a sponsored segment.
Yeah, definitely.
So by now, the fact that she got fired over the most harmless punt and the fact that she wasn't passionate about the game enough made this entire situation seem like the biggest nothing burger of all
If you're a prog boy, just say so.
time. It made the developer seem like they had no spine and that they were easily bullied by the worst aspects of their community, and more importantly in all this, it hurt the game very badly. This is what we call consequences. Look, it's no secret at this point. South Koreans are going extinct. Now, there are many reasons for that, like, for example, the cost of living crisis happening all over the world. More importantly, though, men and women hate each other for a multitude of different reasons, but it's gotten very ugly. So this had quickly gone from, are you stupid, you fired her over a joke, into a nasty battle, alleging that the reason why Urochrony got fired was because a bunch of Korean incels convinced the developer to fire her. The fact that the only reason she was targeted was because she was both a woman and a VTuber. In this video, we're not going to go too deep
Really?
into that radioactive wasteland of
Being a woman is bad? The fuck?
death and despair.
Wait, did the only woman target her, or?
You should know, though, that it did devolve
What
into a
happened?
battle like that, which of course made this developer look even worse. Are you really catering
No,
to
they look really jealous, bro. They look like they envy her, if anything.
incels? Well, that's what it seemed like to many. At the same time, even though Urochrony had initially wanted to take this lightly, jokingly, it seemed like seeing so many people try to twist her words and attitude got to her. So on May 7th, she tweets, I really want to play Silksong and talk with everyone, but I think I'm just going to have to take the day off. I'll be back soon, so be good, everyone. Thank you for all that you do. This, of course, made her audience even more outraged at this company and how they were trying to ruin her name for no reason. Soon you'd see many content creators for the game Eternal Return come out and speak about this, saying things like, as an Eternal Return content creator, it's really sad to see the state of the ER right now, but I want to say I'm super proud of how the English community has banded together to support Crony. Every Discord server I'm in is writing about the unfairness of it. People are banding together with bore icons, bore names, and demanding nimble neuron response. Regardless of the outcome, I'm super proud of everyone. We might flame each other sometimes and get frustrated, but we're still a community and it shows in times like this. So this has essentially become a movement, right? Now everyone in protest is putting on the bore icon. And nimble neuron, I think, by now understands that appeasing the small amount of
Poor icon, who cares, bro?
loud, toxic players pisses off the majority. Here we have an official English caster for the game Eternal Return during tournaments tweeting, the Korean Eternal Return community thinks they're doing us a favor, but in reality just lost one of the biggest opportunities for the West to grow over a pun that wasn't even directed towards the game. Most of the people upset probably don't even use English voice acting. Huge disappointment. Yeah, that's a very good point. It seems, right? It seems, I'm not gonna say it's 100% true, but it seems like most of the people pissed off at Crony are South Korean. They don't even play the game in English, so what's the problem? But hey, listen, it's still important to note, not all South Koreans are like this, obviously. Here's someone from South Korea saying, this is exactly fucking why I hate my own country's web community. Fucking toxic about things they're not even able to certainly understand about it. Those fuckers and losers just couldn't resist from cyberbullying. Great job. What a great fucking job. Hope you guys are proud. So as always, it's not black and white.
W.
There's always nuance. Not every South Korean was okay with this. Another Eternal Return content creator would speak out and would write a lengthy post. In summary, he'd say that he was really excited to see
My final thoughts.
the English side of the game finally get some support after being neglected for so long. But now this opportunity has passed, and it's time to move on and not do the same mistake again. But can we really move on from this without an apology from Eternal Return for their dumbass mistake? Probably not. The game got review bombed on Steam, showing that they were truly not appeasing the majority of people with their decision. They were just appeasing a minority. The game today, when it comes to recent reviews, sits at mostly negative, with only 27% of the last 1,700 reviews being positive. This story spread like wildfire, whether it be on Twitter, whether it be in news articles, whether it be in videos like this one. People who have never heard of the game are now aware
Yeah,
of
I've never heard, but
its existence and
Loki, I think it looked kind of fun though. Maybe I should try
will probably
this.
never play it because they'll constantly be reminded of this. No, unlike what you might have already been told, not all publicity
Nah, this video 100% is actually pretty good advertisement though.
is good
Because
publicity.
I've never heard about that game, and this is like actually like it's good publicity. If anything, I think the company should pay Muchin as well, bro.
I had never
for
heard of this
making
game
a video
before.
like this.
Many people had never heard this game before, and now when someone thinks of Eternal Return, they'll think of how they can't handle a dad joke. They'll also ironically think of the word boring. This is now officially the fate of this game, forever
Boring.
associated with the word boring over one of the dumbest decisions I have seen in recent history. But hey, a few days after taking a break, Urochrony would come back on May 10th and would tweet out, I've noticed and have read them. Thank you. Best community ever, and I feel loved. As always, I will never take it for granted. Thank you. So hey, in the end, Urochrony lost the voice acting role she was looking forward to. Whatever. She still has her incredible community to thank.
I will never take it for granted. Wait, does that mean that? Wait.
And as she had already mentioned, has a lot of interesting projects lined up. Those projects will benefit not just from a very talented voice actress, but also from a very loyal community. Something that Eternal Return and their developer Nimble Neuron will never get to experience because of their dumbass decision making. I hope that Urochrony continues to make the worst dad jokes in existence, and I hope that other developers can see and learn from this so they don't seek to appease the wrong people with their decisions. Thank you so much for watching until the end. I really appreciate it. If you want to see some extra yapping videos from me, then definitely
Yeah, I think I guess it is what it is, bro. But yeah, guys, if you like this video, triple sub, triple like, and join my Discord. And yeah, guys, thank you for watching the video. See you guys on my next video. Bye.